Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here this morning. I know it is a holiday weekend, but we are so glad that you're here and that you took the time to come to our last Broadway Sunday, at least for a year. Maybe longer, no. But we're glad you're here. If you're watching virtually, we're glad you're here with us also. Would you join together with me in our opening monologue? As we come into this place, we know that forgiveness doesn't come easily. As we come into this place, we carry the heavy burden of our mistakes and poor choices. As we come into this place, we are searching for a way through life's obstacles. As we come into this place, may we have open eyes, hearts, and ears to hear your voice this morning.
Never saw him in my life, but I know this much. He's given every one of us a black eye. After he's worked a town over, the next salesman to arrive gets automatically tarred and feathered and ridden out of town on a rail. Because in order to sell band instruments and uniforms and instruction books, he has to guarantee to teach the kids how to play and to form them kids into a band with himself as the leader. He don't know one note from another, and he can't tell a bass drum from a pipe organ.
Professor Harold Hill has come into town as a traveling salesman, selling band instruments and uniforms, promising to create a band for the youth of the town. But the trouble is, he's actually a con man, and he doesn't know anything about directing a band. He uses the same scheme throughout the Midwest to make money. In order to convince the townspeople, he tells them that they've got trouble right there in River City.
Either you're closing your eyes to a situation you do not choose to acknowledge, or you are not aware of the caliber of disaster indicated by the presence of a pool table in your community. The idle brain is the devil's playground. Trouble.
Oh, we got trouble.
Right here in River City.
Right here in River City.
With a capital T and that rhymes with P and that stands for pool.
That stands for pool.
We've surely got trouble.
We've surely got trouble.
Right here in River City.
Right here.
Gotta figure out a way to keep the young ones moral after school.
Our children's gonna have trouble. Trouble, 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 trouble.
Trouble.
Oh, we got trouble.
Right here in River City.
Right here in River City.
With a capital T and that rhymes with P and that stands for pool.
That stands for pool.
We've surely got trouble.
We've surely got trouble.
Right here in River City.
Right here.
Gotta figure out a way to keep the young ones moral after school.
Our children's gonna have trouble.
So, to keep the kids out of trouble, he asked the townspeople to pay for costumes, instruments, and songbooks. However, he plans to escape town with the money without teaching them how to use the materials. In order to get the in with the townspeople, he wants to get to know the woman who knows everyone in town, Marion, the librarian, and the music teacher. After orchestrating a situation in which he runs into Marion on the street, he shows an interest in her, but she turns down his advances. She comes home and tells her mom about him, and when her mom asks, "Why didn't you give him the time of day?" Marion says, "He's just a common masher." She acts like she's not looking for love, but deep down, we know she is.
Good night, my someone, good night, my love. Sleep tight, my someone, sleep tight, my love. Our star is shining its brightest light. For good night, my love, for good night. Sweet dreams be yours, dear, if dreams there be. Sweet dreams to carry you close to me. I wish they may, and I wish they might. Now good night, my someone, good night. True love can be whispered from heart to heart. When lovers are parted, they say. But I must depend on a wish and a star, as long as my heart doesn't know who you are. Sweet dreams be yours, dear, if dreams there be. Sweet dreams to carry you close to me. I wish they may, and I wish they might. Now good night, my someone, good night. Good night. Good night.
After Professor Hill proposes the idea of a children's band as a solution to the trouble therein, the townspeople are convinced to purchase the instruments and uniforms for their children. And the day that their instruments arrive has finally come. The Wells Fargo wagon is coming down the street.
Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is coming down the street. Oh, please let it be for me. Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is coming
Meanwhile, Marion has been doing research on Harold Hill. In this research, she discovers that Harold doesn't actually have good intentions. She knows about his past, that he's been going around to different towns and conning people, and she is ready to let everyone know about it. But after she sees Harold instill confidence in her little brother, she starts to see all the positive impacts that he's made on the town. He pays attention to the children, he encourages them, and basically teaches them that if you believe in yourself, you can do anything. As Marion sees this, she decides to keep the knowledge to herself, at least for now.
Marion the librarian knows about Harold's troubled past, but she decides not to tell everyone about it because she also sees that he's doing really good things in the town too, right? One of those things is encouraging kids that don't have a lot of friends to join the band. Have any of y'all ever felt left out before? Not included? What does that feel like? Yeah, bad, sad, yeah. Those are good words to describe it. Alone, yeah. So I know you know now what it feels like to be left out, but what does it feel like to be included? Makes you feel happy, it's fun. Yeah, it makes you feel really good, doesn't it? And every single day, you can make the choice to include others. Sometimes we accidentally or on purpose leave others out, but we all know what it feels like to be excluded, right? And luckily, God doesn't exclude anyone and asks us all to be includers. Jesus was a really good example of how we should treat others in the way that he encouraged and made people feel like they really belonged, especially the people that had left others out on purpose. So this week, what do you think is one thing you can do to make sure that people feel included? What's something that you think you can do? You're back in school, so that's a really great place to start. What's something you could do like out on the playground to make everyone feel included? Invite them to play. Maybe if you see someone that doesn't have anyone else to play with, you can invite them to come and join you. That's exactly right. All right, my friends, let's say a prayer. God, thank you for the way you love all of us. Help us to show love to everyone and include everyone just like Jesus taught us. Amen.
After seeing all the good that he's doing, Marion is starting to fall for Harold, and Harold is starting to fall for Marion because of the unconditional confidence that she has in him. They meet on the footbridge and confess their love to one another.
There were bells on the hill, but I never heard them ringing. No, I never
sometimes things happen and we have to wear more than one hat. So I'm taking the narrator hat off and I'm putting the preacher hat on at this point. Would you stand for the reading of the gospel? He entered Jericho and was passing through it. A man was there named Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was rich. He was trying to see who Jesus was, but on account of the crowd, he could not. But he was short in stature. So he ran ahead and he climbed a sycamore tree to see him, because he was going to pass that way. When Jesus came to the place, he looked up and he said to him, "Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today." So he hurried down and he was happy to welcome him. All who saw it began to grumble and said, "He has gone to be the guest of one of those who is a sinner." Zacchaeus stood there and said to the Lord, "Look, half of my possessions, Lord, I will give to the poor, and if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I will pay back 4 times as much." Then Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, because he too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek out and to save the lost." This is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. You may be seated. I must admit that I watched The Music Man last week, and I hadn't seen it in quite a while. And I enjoyed watching, well, Roy and I watched it together, Matthew Broderick and Kristen Chenoweth. And I had forgotten how much there was in the story that we could learn from. I'm guessing if you've been here the last 2 weeks prior, this scripture connects to The Music Man a little better than the scriptures I used for the other 2 musicals. But I couldn't help but see the story of Zacchaeus in the life of the Professor Hill. In the story of Zacchaeus, we see this man who most see as a crook. He's a tax collector, and he's cheated so many people out of money, and it's made him a very rich man. So when Jesus, the man who is supposed to represent love and justice and honesty, when he pays attention to this man who has cheated others, it makes the people around him, well, it makes a lot of people very angry. As a matter of fact, there are several people in this story that are important. And yes, the people around who are angry are important in this story, because they are the ones that Zacchaeus has cheated. Zacchaeus, who comes down out of the tree and immediately changes who he is just by meeting Jesus. He's an important character in this story. And then, of course, there's Jesus, who, because of his attention to Zacchaeus, because of his unconditional love towards him, Zacchaeus becomes a different person. The love of Christ changed who he was and who he would be in the future. Let's look at Professor Hill. He's known in other states as a cheat. He convinces good people to pay money for instruments and uniforms, promising to teach the kids to be in a band. He has no intention of teaching them how to play instruments. He plans to skip town the minute the instruments and uniforms are all there. The person in town who really doesn't want to give Professor Hill the time of day is the librarian and music teacher, Marion. She's not necessarily loved by the whole town. Actually, some of the women gossip about her because she comes off as being very proper So they spread stories that aren't true about her. But as a whole, the town knows that she's intelligent and she's honest, and they listen to her. Over time, Marion begins to see the good that Professor Hill is making in the community, even though he doesn't realize it himself. People are becoming more friendly in the town, even to her. The boys in the band have more confidence. They play together, they feel included. The town just feels better. Marion even finds out that the Professor Hill isn't a professor and doesn't know how to lead a band, but she doesn't say anything because of the good that she sees happening. The people in the town don't know about Professor Hill's background, and when they find out, they turn on him. They are convinced that he needs to be tarred and feathered, and they chase him down. But because of Marion's belief in Professor Hill, she reminds the townspeople of the change that has happened in the town. And she convinces the people that Professor Hill might not be what he said he was, but down deep, he was a good person. And he even turns himself in and lets the town do whatever they want to him. We see in the story of Professor Hill how kindness and love and support can change people. We see how even when there are lots of reasons to condemn a person, there may also be a reason to show them love. Because down deep, if we take the time to know someone, down deep, there's good. Professor Hill wasn't the person, his mistakes, well, maybe not mistakes, he wasn't the person his bad choices made him appear to be. While doing bad, he also did lots of good. And when one person, Marion, showed him love and support, he wanted to be the person she saw in him. She made a change in him. She made a change in the townspeople. When Zacchaeus let himself be seen by Jesus, when he listened and did what Jesus asked of him, he knew that Jesus saw who he was deep inside. When Zacchaeus responded to Jesus, he wanted to be the Zacchaeus that Jesus saw, not the Zacchaeus that the world saw. He wanted to make it right with the people he had wronged. So I'm thinking those around him started to see him differently. Jesus' love of Zacchaeus changed him, and he became a better man. Now, did he still make mistakes? I'm guessing he did. Don't we all? But hopefully they were different kinds of mistakes and choices. And hopefully he sought to make things right when he knew he had done wrong. Today, we come to this table because this table reminds us that we all make mistakes, that we all make bad choices sometimes. But Christ came so that we would know forgiveness and love in a new and different way. This is the table of Christ. This table is not our table. It is Christ's table, and it is open to anyone who wants to receive it. On that night, as Jesus sat with his friends, he took the bread and he broke it. And he said, "This is my body, which is broken for you. When you eat it, remember me." And then he took the cup and he said, "This is a new covenant, a covenant of forgiveness, mercy, so that we would know the love of Christ. When we drink it, we are reminded of that covenant." His heart being changed, Harold turns himself in to the law enforcement. And although the townspeople are ready to tar and feather him for his deception, Marion stands up and defends him. She points out that he's done more for the town than just con them, that he has had a positive impact. Slowly but surely, the entire town shows their support for Harold Hill. The kids put on their uniform, they show up, and lo and behold, they play. They're absolutely terrible. But the parents saw their kids playing and participating, and they loved it. Harold is released because of Marion's love and the town people's forgiveness. It turns out that love does redeem us. Will you join me in the closing monologue? As we leave this place, we acknowledge that forgiveness looks different from perspective. As we leave this place,
We commit ourselves to the idea that we are not the sum of our mistakes and poor choices.
as we leave this place,
We recognize that God's love truly does overcome all of life's obstacles.
Six trombones with the counterpoint, 110 cornets blazed away. To the rhythm of march, 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 all the kids began to march, and they're marching still right today. 76 trombones with the counterpoint, 110 cornets blazed away. To the rhythm of march, 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 all the kids began to march, and they're marching still right today.
I had to do the lights too, the lights, the narration, all these things that Mason always does. And I told her she couldn't have Fletcher until tomorrow, but she didn't listen to me, or Fletcher didn't listen to me. I want to say a big thank you to a lot of people, and I'm probably not going to get them all. But through this planning and creating, Chris has done so much writing and Mason did so much writing also with the script and the narration. The choir who practiced and practiced and practiced. Our sound people, Sophia and Claire, who put in extra effort for our sound. Brian and Rachel today being Marion and Professor Hill. Our quartet that sang this morning, and especially Sing 2, our pianist who has worked very hard. So once again, this has been, to me, has been a wonderful 3 Sundays of a little change of pace, but also something that was very meaningful to me, and I hope it was to you. So be sure and say a special thanks to all of these that helped us. And, oh, thank you, Kathy. How could I forget? Kay Greenhahn. I'm so sorry, but Kay made all of the kids' costumes. She helped decorate every week for this, plus she helped in the planning and the writing and all of that. So say a special thanks to Kay also, because she did. I thought the kids looked great today. I knew it was a holiday and a lot of our kids would be out of town, but man, those costumes were cute. So we are grateful for Abby and the kids and all they did to help with this too. So I thank you for being here today. To be honest, I didn't look at announcements, but I think the office is closed tomorrow. That's one thing. Next Sunday, we'll be back to our normal worship service at 11, so I invite you to be here for that. Do we have a ending, or are we just going? Okay, Sing 2 is going to play us out. Thank you.